You just know that they're capable. You're never gonna know how many bodies. Look, they might even have forgot themselves, which they should. And then even if they did things, they might have killed somebody just for the hell of it one time because the guy got them pissed off.
Welcome back to the Goodfellow Podcast. Today we're back with Mr. Joe Barone, a former Bonanno associate and earner, who's back today to talk about the hit on his life, the open hit, as well as the open hit on Dominick Cicale's life, which was his former capo within the Mafia. Welcome back to the show, Joe. How you doing today?
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely going to want to talk about that, and hopefully at the end of the after the end of the segment, we can answer some more questions. Some people you said have tuned in, and I'd like to address those at the end. If that's
There's
okay.
been a lot of new questions and new comments coming in after Joe went on John Mitchell's podcast. We're getting a big influx. So after today's episode, at the end of it, we're gonna do a little
Right.
comment section. So
I like for everybody to know that we're accessible. We're here to talk. We're here to discuss anything, good or bad, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't even care if it does have to do anything with my old life, me being a mafia associate, and also as an informant. So either way, I don't mind.
well, why don't we start, Joe, by talking about when did you first learn that there was a hit on your life?
I had learned that there was a hit on my life right after it was exposed that I was an informant.
What year was that?
I was still in prison. What happens is a lot of people still, and I'll try to convey this the best way I can. When I took my second pinch, I was in population, but what the FBI did was because I didn't want to work with them any longer, they got pissed off. They actually asked me to cooperate and to just say that my co-defendant, which was Tony Polero, who he's passed away now. They wanted me. All I had to do was cooperate with on him, and I would have been out. And Tony would have did probably 10 years in prison, and that would have been the end of that.
Wow.
But I didn't do that because he was my friend. I knew he was just pretending that he wanted to do something because that's what they do. Everybody wants to talk to a wise guy like he's a wise guy, like they got something going on, But most wise guys, just off the subject a little bit, a guy like Barney, Barney Belamo, in the Genovese family, he does a lot of legitimate things, and so if you talk to him about legitimate things, he'll conduct it legitimately. I mean, listen, does he got a little extra pull than most legitimate guys might have? Yeah, of course, but you don't have to talk to a wise guy like he's a wise guy. Just be his buddy. Hey, how you doing? How's everything? Good to see you. Nice, and then leave it alone.
I
And
think
that's it.
the guys want to feel included in that life. It seems like so alluring to some people.
It does. Look, you see, a lot of people see the wise guy because they dress nice car, nice home, or whatever they might have, a good, beautiful wife, maybe a girlfriend or whatever, who knows, without being married or whatever, or both. It looks good from the outside, but nobody really realizes what they got to go through to get all what they're doing. So wait, it's almost like you see a guy rich. Now, Tony Polero, he had a lot of money. He was a multimillionaire. Owned $1 million home, a few of them at one time. But nobody realized that this guy was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to all the gas stations that he owned and doing all of this stuff. And then he didn't get home till like 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night sometimes. Then they had to start the day all over again.
Wow.
Yeah, so like some people look at a person who's got money and be like, that son of a gun and this.
You don't know what it took.
You don't know what it took. All right, look, if a guy got it inherited to him from his parents or something like that, or a rich uncle, something like that's good, but that still doesn't mean that that's somebody in your family trying to help you out and take care of you. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean he's any less of a person or what it is. I mean, look, if I had $20 million, I'm still going to be me. The only thing different is I'm going to have nicer things. That's it. But you could live the same way you're living now and just have that money for security. That's all it takes. But anyways, going back to the question about the hit on my life and stuff like that, if that was the first question you asked. So they had put me in the box. They put me in the shoe. The whole the shoe means it's solitary confinement, but they put special. It means special housing unit. If they're out to protect you, the Bureau of Prisons, the BOP, then if you're just in there for your own protection, then why can't you get your phone calls like you do when you're on population? See, they torture you in there no matter what because the shoe is a shoe. And I stayed 15 months in the box, and that's what actually gave me my PTSD and all the other things that I got.
That's a long time to be in solitary confinement. 15 months. That's crazy.
I know guys even in there longer too, and I've seen guys that were tougher, way tougher than me. And let's make no mistake, I've never ever claimed to be a tough guy. Anybody who knows me from the street, from New Rochelle, from the Bronx, people, my friends in Brooklyn, or anywhere I might have been, I've never ever said I was a tough guy. Never. So, would I fight if I had to? Of course, I had to, but I never claimed that. But I seen guys that were way tougher than me. They went a few minutes in the box a day, and they were already wanted to talk to the assistant U.S. attorney because it's hell in there. I mean, let's face it. There's some guys that done years in there.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it all depends on who you are and what your circumstances are. I can't judge. I mean, people hung themselves in there. They, killed themselves plenty of times in the hole.
Were you different after you came out of the 15 months?
Yeah.
Do you think it changed you permanently?
It did. It still affects me to this day, and that was in 2009 and 2010. I was in there, so yeah. When I first came home and I was released, I didn't realize it, but I was sitting in the dark. I was in my apartment, and the blinds were shut, everything was shut. I didn't realize that. I snapped right away. I mean, I always had like a kind of a little bit of a short fuse, kind of a temper thing, but not like this. I didn't realize it, and so when I went to the psychiatrist took one look at me and said, "Whoa," and he kind of almost knew my whole story without even me like even having to explain it. Then when I told him, he put me on what they call Klonopin. Klonopin is some kind of something with the brain, and I was on that for a while, believe it or not. But yeah, it changed me. And
It's horrible.
Listen. Some reporter, I think, a long time ago went into the box. He was only in there for like not even an hour. He couldn't even tell what time it was anymore. He lost all sense of everything.
So now this is how long after your first bid when the hit first got put on your life?
So
This
let's
is
see.
2010. Your first bid was when?
And I got arrested in 2009, January 9, 2009. So then I was released for a couple of weeks.
Oh, that was your first bid in 2009?
No. My first bid was in 1989, 1990.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because on my first bid I went to the hole for like 2 weeks, but it was different then. I don't understand what was the difference was. I was okay. I was a lot younger, of course, but I did the 2 weeks in the box like it was nothing. I don't.
Well,
Yeah,
2 weeks is a lot different than 15 months.
that's true. Then I finally got out of the box and stuff like that, but. And I was in Otisville, New York when I was in the box there. And the room was a lot bigger, it felt like, in Otisville than it was when I was in MDC.
Were you ever afraid in jail of getting stabbed or, getting,
It's you. I don't know if you could say being afraid of it is the right way, but
It's more like waiting for it to happen, right? It's waiting for the inevitable.
you're always on the lookout. I mean, because let's face it, you're always you're with a lot of hoodlums. You're with a lot of low life people too. Used to be when you were in the federal system, they say, "Oh, the federal system ain't that bad, it's not," but you got a lot of low lifes in there in the last 20 years, 30 years. And,
Yeah.
it's not as, I wouldn't say it's as rough as like say Rikers Island, which I never went to, thank goodness. But even the COs, the correctional officers in Rikers Island are afraid to be there. That's how bad it was, or is. And people who've been there can explain it a lot more better than me because I wasn't. So, but yeah, no, you always got that on your mind, of course, because it could be an argument over a phone or what you're looking at, and there's so many different things you have to know. Don't look in another guy's cell. Walk past everybody's cell. Just mind your own business. Basically, you have to have a certain way about you. And then of course you got to gravitate to the people,
Was there any kind of protection in there?
From what?
For you, I mean, did you have any kind of like remaining loyalty, even though you were a rat?
In the
Was there
beginning.
any kind of
Yeah, in the beginning, before anybody knew I was, cooperating with the government, I hung around with the Italians. I hung around with Jerry Chili. I hung around with a few good
Right.
guys like that. Yeah, of course.
Gene
And
Barilla, you met in there too, right?
no, I never met Gene Borello.
Oh, okay.
He was. I'm 62. He's a lot younger than me, so he was like the other generation coming up.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I heard a lot of I heard a lot of good things about him in the street when I was out there, and stuff like that. I never got a chance to meet him.
So I guess bringing it back to base then. So you go, you do your first bid, you get outed as an informant by the FBI.
Not in my first bid, the second bid.
Second bid,
Yeah.
excuse me. And you're going through jail, the justice system, and then you come home. On top of that, you find out there's a hit on your life. Who
Right.
was it that told you?
I'll tell you that in a second. But I wanted to say one more thing
Sure.
about when I said about Gene Brill. I heard a lot of good things about him in the
Yeah.
street. When I say good things, I don't mean he's a saint. I mean he's capable. And
Right.
he's one of those guys you don't want to mess around with, like, type of dude. He's serious. You know what I mean? So when I say good things, I don't want people to think that, like, whatever. But
You heard he's like a very charitable guy or something.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure he is in his own way too. Like, I'm
Right.
sure he did a lot of other good things in the street besides doing what he had to do. But he was doing what he had to do as a man. You know what I mean? So, and that's one of the reasons why I like to meet him. I like people like who are like that. Like, that's why I gravitated to Dominick when I first met him. He's a man's man. You know. But when I first got outed, and I was in the hole, what happened was they put an article in the paper, the FBI. And I didn't find out that till later on, because they just came and handcuffed me from my cell and then took me right to the box. And then so Chili, who actually saw me getting taken to the box, he called his wife up, and he told his wife that he says, call the kid's girl and tell him that he went to the box. And and so that's how we stick up for each other like that. All us Italian guys, we see what's going on. We get word out to the street, because, I could have been in there for a month and she would have came to visit me, my fiance at that time, and she would have came to visit me, and she would have been like, what happened? Now he's now he's in the hole.
Right.
So, but they did that to punish me, because they knew, they knew they outed me as cooperating, and then so it makes the BOP have to say we have to put him in the box for his own protection. That's the scam of it.
That's what they hide behind.
Yeah. But listen, the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons, and the FBI, they're in constant contact with each other. The FBI makes one phone call, it could get you out like this. They could do anything they want, and they'll say like, "Oh no, we can't do that. We can't do this." That is such a crock of shit. Excuse me. It's a lie. I don't know if you guys ever saw this the TV show Blacklist with James Spader. That guy's some actor, boy. This guy here, forget about this guy. I can't even. I wish I could pronounce the words that he was able to do. Man, he is excellent. And he's also from Boston Legal, so maybe that's where he got his thing. But he's excellent. But look what he did with the FBI. They did anything they wanted to do. They pretend they had to go through the channels, but they let you do it. I always told you guys out there, and this is the truth. The end justifies the means. They don't care how they do
Right.
it. They do it. In some walks of life, you have a certain code of honor. You don't do certain things. You don't cross certain lines and stuff like that. That's why I feel bad about the things that I've done too, because I cross lines that, even if it wasn't a code of honor, it's your own code of honor. If you guys want to see politics, you see what's going on out there in politics. If you want to be religious, you see what's going on in religion. Do you guys remember when Jesus got, they arrested him and all of this stuff, and they asked him, he never spoke one word. That's why they tell you today in the law, keep your mouth shut. Don't say nothing to these people. They got some evidence about you, probably some proof of this or proof of that. Let them prove it. See, in this country, you are guilty till proven innocent, not innocent till proven guilty. Because if I was innocent or anybody else was, how come we can't get bail? What are we arrested for then?
Right.
Why isn't the burden of proof? You got to prove yourself that I did all of this. But anyway, so that was the first time I heard about the hit. Then I found out and everything like this, and now it made sense to me while I was in the box. But they did that to punish me. And I wound up getting MRSA staph in there. I got scars on me from when they cut out masses, chunks like this big out of my
My
body.
God.
Yep, I almost died in there. They had to give me three different antibiotics just to try to cure the damn thing.
Wow.
Yeah, they tried to kill me in there.
That's terrible.
Well, they knew I knew secrets about the FBI. They knew that I knew how they operated and stuff like that. So, they hated me.
Right.
See, you got to remember, there's a certain part of the FBI that they're jealous of a guy like me because I can go and do things that they can't do. I enjoy things that they can't enjoy, you know? So that's what it is.
I'm sure a lot of the aspects of that lifestyle are attractive to those guys too. Even if they won't admit it, I'm sure they get jealous too.
Listen, isn't it nice
The
to
women, the cars,
Oh,
the
sure.
the money.
Isn't it nice to be able to go to a restaurant you can't get a reservation for and just walk right in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You talk to the maitre d'
Yeah.
guy that you know. I did that in Bruno's down in Manhattan. I don't even know if it's still there. I was going with this girl Terry, and I just come home from the joint, and we were living together, even though her mother and father didn't know we were living together. Sorry, Terry. Anyway, and so I took her to. She had tickets to a Broadway play. It was called Showboat, which I really liked because I just like that movie. Anyways, I like the one with Ava Gardner, and I like the one before that one too. So I said, okay, I want to go to a nice place. So I went to one of my guys, and he said, listen, he says, go to Bruno's. He said this and that. And he says, go see Anthony at the door and this and that. And I did. And we went right in, and she was all impressed. It's nice.
Yeah.
Had a piano
I'm
bar.
sure
in
that
there.
looked good for you. For sure.
I saw, what's his name, the white boxer, Clooney, George Clooney or whatever. Well, not George Clooney, but he lost the fight to, what's his name? But, I mean, it was like people were getting up and singing with the piano guy. I mean,
Oh,
it was,
geez.
it was wonderful. She was like, she was impressed because she actually had connections to the Gambino crime family. And so she thought a little bit like who she was. And so, and then I showed her who I was. And it was kind of cool, though,
So walk me through this real quick. So
Sure.
you're in the hole when you find out about the hit.
Yep.
When you get out of jail, are you afraid for your life every minute, every day? I couldn't even imagine what that would, even just leaving the parking lot of the jail. I mean,
Well, when I got released, when I won my trial, the marshals even told me, be careful.
yeah.
The marshal said, be careful. I had a friend of mine, I won't say his last name, is my friend Frank. He put up his house for me because they still wanted to get me on another charge, the conspiracy charge, which they finally dropped all charges. Yeah, you have to be careful. I mean, look, there's always the stray dog, the stray wolf, the cowboy. Somebody wants to come out of the woodwork and say, wow, if I get rid of this guy, man, it'll look good. Even if he don't get to be a wise guy or anything, he just gets to be like, I took out the rat, I took out this or whatever. So there's always
You become like a trophy.
Sure. See, the FBI, what they did was they actually put a hit on me. It's almost like they put a hit out on me, like they did with Willie Boy Johnson. And I think I said this about, you guys could look this up, so this is all public knowledge. This is not something I'm coming up with. Willie Boy Johnson was a friend of John Gotti's. Everybody knows who he is. And then so he was given information to the FBI about him, and he said, I'm just never going to testify. Well, of course, they said, no, don't worry, you don't have to, all that nonsense. They lied. What a surprise. And so they said, listen, we want you to take the stand, and he said no. Well, they outed him as a rat.
That's terrible that they do that to people. I mean, it's like
They-
it's like doxing somebody online. You know what that is?
No.
When you dox somebody online, like you could, like celebrities, they keep their address private, their phone number private. So getting doxed means that your
out there.
your address gets leaked, your phone number, your email, everything gets leaked.
Like they
It's-
did to the
it's
guy
just
in the
as bad as
Supreme
that.
Court. Okay, like they did in the Supreme Court judge. Yeah, okay, I get it.
It's the same thing.
Well, they did it with, I didn't even know what that says. Like, there's all these new terms, but we just say out of the guy, whatever. So it's like,
right.
But you know what it is it's really sad because the FBI actually had him killed because, let's face it, he is dead now. He got killed, and
It was the FBI's fault.
of
Yeah,
course,
so the FBI killed him, pretty much.
This is what it is. You don't work with them, you die. The same thing with me too. Now, was I going to get killed for not working with them? No. My whole situation is totally different. Everybody knows it, I hope by now, and if not, we'll have to do specific reason why, and we can go over that too. I'm still in therapy as today. I'm still dealing with a lot of my issues. But the bottom line is the FBI, they do it in a way like sneaky. That's what it is. Like at least so if you're gonna get killed by a wise guy, they there's a few there's a sit down over the situation with whoever it's got to be, and then they give the green light to that's it, and then boom, you get to go. Yep.
So when the mob puts out a hit on somebody, who does the order come from, and who does it go to? And then does it get sent out to like, is it basically like open season, like anybody can go kill this guy, or is it one guy has the okay?
There are a couple of different scenarios. Most of it, almost all the time, the order will come from the top.
Right.
To get to whack somebody, especially if it's somebody who's a made man.
Does it come from the boss? 100% of the time, or can it also come from a captain?
It comes from the boss. The boss tells the captain.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe the captain can get you whacked, but the captain will always go to the boss and say, "Listen, we got listen. There's no. You don't want to keep secrets. So many secrets, but you definitely want to shield the boss. Like in other words, you get the order. The captain gets the order, say, and he puts the guy on it.
Right.
And that's the way it is now. Depending on a situation like my situation, because I've been outed as a rat and all of this stuff, and cooperating and all that stuff. Basically, it's open. Anybody can do it if they want. That's the problem. It's not like it's just because
So you really, really got to watch your back then.
Of course, because I got to remember one thing. I never took the stand against anybody, so nobody could say I did exactly this to them or that to them. But because of my thing, somebody might just want to maybe just beat me up, maybe just shoot me, maybe whatever. You know what I mean?
Just for the sake of beating up a rat or whatever.
Exactly.
Whatever the case.
Exactly. I recently heard about Dominick now. Supposedly there was a hit out on his life.
Right. I wanted to ask you about that. What's the story with that?
I haven't spoke to Dominick about it. I mean to call him, and I'm going to. But
and this is Dominick Cicale, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
Former Mafia capo of the Bonanno crime family.
That's right. And he didn't say anything to me about it. But I tell you right now, if he needs me by his side, I'm gonna have to take a ride. He's still my captain in my view, but in a legitimate way this time. And he's my friend, and he also he's my brother, and plus I owe him to some degree. You understand? And so if he needed me to be down there, I go down there. So now you're gonna have two targets to try to hit. And let me tell you something. I don't never claim, like I said, to be a tough guy, but Dominick is a tough guy. Not because he's out of our life. He is a tough guy, and so let's put it this way: I don't even want to get into it. I'll just leave it at that. Okay.
So there's no info on why the hit was put out. Is it something that he did recently, or was it?
I don't know because I didn't talk to him myself.
Right.
I'm sure he would tell me, and it's not like Dominick needs me. I don't think he'd even call me, but if he did, I'd be there. But I don't. He's a one-man show. Always was, before he was a wise guy, when he was a wise guy, and even out of the life. So, but I don't know. It could be anything. Could be coming from. Could be coming from Mikey Nose. Could be coming from Joey Molino, Skinny Joe Molino. I don't know, but I believe it'll work out somehow, some way.
So, let me ask you this: why are you not afraid to talk about this stuff?
You know what it is destiny is already written. All right, I've already done things. There's nothing I can do about it. In this life, you do some things you can't take it back. If you kill somebody, you can't bring them back to life. If you get a tattoo, they say you can remove it, but it will still leave a scar. If you're a girl and you got X amount of guys under your belt, all these bodies under you, well, you can't take that back either. There's certain things you got to make sure that when you do certain things in life, you have to be ready to take those consequences. So I can't change what I did. you asked me, I think, in another previous podcast that if I could take it back. I think John even asked me on the Connect podcast. To be honest with you, I wouldn't want anything to do with this life, and I definitely wouldn't have worked for the FBI. But if I had a choice, I would have just stuck to being a gangster because, if I had a choice between working with the FBI or being a gangster, I'd have just stuck to being a gangster because
Playing both got you screwed by both parties, really.
that's right. I was living and walking between two worlds. Okay, I was being torn this way, that way.
And not 100% part of either of them.
That's right. Not 100% in part of either.
Which is very.
Loyalty is like you can't even. It's you lose. You don't want to lose yourself. You're trying to remember you're doing it for the greater good. With all these people that are supposed to be bad. But look how I met Dominick. Look at the bond we that flourished between us. Look at my friend Chili. Unfortunately, he passed away too, and he was a. He's the kind of guy you want to. He was wild, but he was a great guy. There's so many guys I met in prison. I met guys who played chess. They should be masters. Okay, they were so good. I've seen guys who did artistry work that was so good. Musicians that were good in there. Just didn't get a break.
Yep.
So that's, what are you going to do?
Did you ever brush shoulders with any of these, hitmen, type of guys?
I remember on my first bid, I was with Patty Boy Diamato. He was in the Colombo family, and I got really close with him. And they wanted me to, because I was sort of I only had papers with the Genovese family, but because my name was so good, they actually wanted me. And there was a big war out there. Matter of fact, during the war and all of this stuff, that's where Greg Scarpa got shot in the eye, and he was still looking to kill somebody. He didn't even want to go to the hospital.
Oh my gosh!
So this guy was. You want to talk about a tough guy? That's a tough guy, and but there was a big war going on between them at that time, and because there was, I think it was.
Greg Scarpa was from what family?
The Colombo family.
They were both from the Colombo, both of the names
yes.
you said. Okay.
Yeah, there was between the Persicos and I think it was his cousin or something like that. Vicarina, I forget his name, but one guy wanted to take over the family. So you want that power, you want that money, and all of this kind of stuff. And for whatever the reasons why that there was a war there, I forget. I think he was put in position there, and somebody wanted to take it all now. But there was a big war going on there, and people were getting killed. But they liked me, and they wanted me to be there. So I guess the things I did in the street echo through the prison system and the wise guys. You know what I mean?
Have you ever seen anybody been killed before?
I don't remember.
Okay. So these hitmen, what were they like? What kind of qualities did they have in common? What kind of what type of guy does it take to be considered a mafia hitman?
You got to be pretty cold. You got to be pretty ruthless. You got to be smart too. You got to be cunning. You got to be willing. These guys were willing to do whatever it took. Tommy Patera, his real name was. He was a real hitman. I never met him, but he was the type of guy. Like I said, he used to get in the bathtub and cut you up in there.
Holy shit!
Yeah, he was actually so scary. His own crew was scared of him. And by rightfully so. There's people out there that are real. They'll just kill you in 2 seconds without even blinking an eye. But that takes a certain breed. That's why in life you have certain guys who are just geared for that. And then there's other guys who are earners. Then you guys got both. Then you guys got some guys got all the brains. So there's, that's why Anthony Aiello, Ace, he was tough. And he'd take you out in a second. You get the order, that's it. And he was the real deal too. He was in the Bonanno family. He's I don't know if he's home yet or not or whatever, but he did his time too.
What determines the bounty price or the price target on somebody's head for a hit?
I don't believe you get paid when you are told to kill somebody when you're in the
really?
family. Yeah, you
so there was no price on your head. There was no.
Well,
it was just to do it just because he's a rat.
That's different now. There was a price on Willie Boy Johnson's head. Not Willie Boy. Willie Marshall. Suppose because he ratted people out in the Gambino family, and they said there was $1 million price on his head. All you have to do is bring the head to the table.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Then there might be a price on my head. I heard there was X amount of dollars on my head. Who knows if that's really even true? I don't know.
How much was it?
Well, one time I heard it was $1 million. Another time I heard it was 100,000. Then there was like a social club. They had a dartboard. They put a picture of me and they were throwing darts at it. So who the hell really knows? You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, you hear a lot of things too. You know what I mean? How true is it? Look, I've been around for a long time. I'm still loose, but you know, who knows? I mean, look, it could happen. Look, you get in a car. You don't think you're gonna get into an accident,
Right.
but you know.
Is there any lines that these guys won't cross, like hitmen? They don't kill women and children. Like, is there any, that type of thing? Is there any kind of off limits for them?
Well, I mean, I guess they would just you're the target, and they're going to try to keep it that way. But if they got to get you and they got to go through somebody, they're gonna.
Yeah, because you hear stories, storefronts getting shot up and stuff, people dying, and
Sometimes you can't get the guy one on one. He's around too many people, say, and so unless the guy's a marksman or something like that. I mean, but the bottom line is, usually the people around you can get it too.
right,
It all depends on how bad they want you and what the contract was for and how long they've been waiting to get you, and they don't want to wait no longer.
right. Wow.
Hmm.
So what? I guess kind of. Where do you stand now with knowing that there's still a hit on your life, and however many years later? I mean, what does that do to a person psychologically? Are you still as worried as you were back then, or I'm sure you're kind of jaded to it now, right?
It's just it's an old habit to look over my shoulder. It's an old habit to look up a staircase. It's an old habit to look around the corner. I can see something coming, maybe a little bit. Hopefully, anyways. Like if I get a flat tire on the street side, I won't fix it. I'll just call AAA. Because if you try to bend down to fix the tire in the street, that's when the guys they drive by
Yeah.
and they can shoot you easy.
Right.
I think I might have said that before, but listen, you try to take precautions. I don't go home the same way. I don't drive the streets. I mean, for the most part, I do, but I'll take a different way. I'll always notice if some car looks like it's following me too long or whatever. I did have it was funny. Some months back, about 9 months ago, maybe, even before the podcast was starting to come out, there was a brown Ford XLT, the Ford 150s, and it seemed like it was following me. Then I did a U-turn. The son of a bitch did a U-turn too.
No.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is what's going on, So I pulled into a parking lot, like a Circle K or whatever, because they got cameras in there. And so I wanted to see if he comes there, and then he didn't come into the Circle K.
But he followed you into the shopping center?
I didn't go into the shopping center. I made a U-turn someplace else, and he made a U-turn
Okay.
around me. Yeah, it looked like he was going in there, and then I waited, and he waited too, and then I drove away. And I don't know why he was following me. Could have been just a friggin' weirdo. Who
Well, you
else
said it
knows?
was a brown pickup truck, right?
A brown.
That's not a
Ford
wise guy
F-150.
car.
No, but that's they try to do the little bit of a disguise thing.
Oh, okay.
Sure,
All right.
they don't
I
want
got you.
to. I mean, yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah, they're not going to come with the Cadillac, and they're going to try to blend wherever they are. You know what I mean?
Right, I got you.
But you never know. Could have been an FBI agent following me.
I wanted to ask.
I don't trust them anymore. They still try to get me on something.
You think so?
Oh, sure.
You ever hear from them?
No. I had talked to another guy I know down here, and supposedly, he tried to set me up maybe too, but that's all right.
Somebody tried to set you up.
Yeah, it's a long story. We'll get into it another time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the consequences for a hitman who gets caught in the act?
Murder.
He gets killed.
No.
Hitman.
Depends on if they think he was going to talk, but usually once they get arrested and they do a hit, that's what their life is. There's a lot of hitmen in prison. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, the only way you're going to really whack another hitman is because, he was going to go too, and there was a reason for him going. What that reason may be could be anything. But after he does the job that he was supposed to do, you whack him too, and then, what they say, dead man tell no tales.
Now I know we've talked about this before, but you were supposed to go on a hit with Dominick
Yes.
to kill Mikey Nose Mancuso, correct?
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to be with Dominic or not. I don't know if I was going to be with Ace. I didn't know who I was going to be with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Were you mentally prepared? Were you ready to do that?
That's a rough question there because I don't know if you ever really mentally prepared to do anything like that. I mean, if I was called to do it, I knew I had no choice. I had to do it because if I don't do it, then I get whacked.
Right.
So, when I was told by Vinny Pizzuti, my handler, he told me, he says, you got to do anything you do, just protect your identity. Never expose, that you're an informant or whatever. He says, but just let me know so that this way we can protect you, as soon as you can, so we can protect you. I don't know how the hell they want to protect me, especially after I shot somebody.
Right.
The whole thing is I was really a good shot. I mentioned on the Connect podcast, I had about 30 guns or so. And I liked shooting because it was like it was like a release, like going to the gym. I go to the gun range or upstate of my property in New York I had at the time, and I would just shoot all the guns I had. And it was just like something, just like a release. I wasn't planning on killing anybody. Listen, I'll protect myself to whatever I can do, but I liked having guns. You know what I'm saying? It was
Right.
a release. It was like I said, it was like working out in a way. A lot of people think the Second Amendment. They go, oh, you don't need a rifle to shoot a deer like a machine gun and everything. Listen, the Second Amendment's not for shooting deers or hunting. The Second Amendment is so that the government don't try to take your rights away from you. Nobody wants to say it that way, but we got to protect ourselves against the government. That's the thing. Nobody wants to say that. I don't know why.
Yeah, the Second Amendment's not really to protect us against each other. It's more so to protect us against,
Well,
you tyranny.
Yeah, it's tyranny, and you do have. I mean, look, you want to protect yourself from any invaders or anything like
That's
that.
like the secondary reason, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's the secondary reason. But the Second Amendment is there because the government gets so powerful, they take your rights away.
Right.
I mean, people, you guys better really get on the what's going on. This is no joke. We see all kinds of stuff on TV about other countries and trying to overthrow the government and everything. That could happen right here. Okay, it just hasn't happened yet because we're supposed to be civilized. We don't want to lose this and whatnot, but we're on the press, this close to anything jumping off. So, but that's why it's nice that the people who found the country always knew things can happen bad and go bad. That's why the Second Amendment is there. Period.
Are you glad that you didn't have to carry out that hit ultimately? Do you?
Yeah, of course. I don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah. That reminds me. I wanted to ask you this: is there anybody in the mafia, was there anybody that kind of had immunity from being asked to kill anybody? Like Michael Franchese, for example. Like, he made so much money, they didn't expect that guy to kill anybody. Surely, right? Like, was there guys that kind of were like, I'll make the money, that's it. I don't want to kill nobody. Don't bother me with that.
Well, let's put it this way: these guys, if you were making the kind of money that Michael was making, you're probably not going to be asked to do anything like that. Only because you're bringing in millions of dollars.
You're too valuable. Someone's not. Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Right. Was there a lot of guys like that, or was he like a 1 in a million case?
Well, he was one of the guys who actually came out with this thing. It was probably one of the biggest earns ever. I don't think he's the only one who made big money, but he was one of the biggest.
Right.
Absolutely. Excuse me, but basically, you're either you're going to do a hit or do a hit. Like I said, some people are capable of doing both. Look, you had Vinny Gorgeous, and Dominick had told me a long time ago. I mean, Vinny's not the kind of guy to just give orders and that's it. Just Dominick, he's out. Vinny was out there. He'll do what he's got to do, and he's smart and he was ruthless at the same time. That's why Dominick and him, they were like this, because Dominick was smart and ruthless when he wanted to be too.
So I take it the guys that have those two traits make it the farthest.
Well, yeah, because you're not afraid to do your own work, which is good. See, they like somebody who can stand up on their own. That's why you're always tested in that life. Joe, go take care of this over there, and then they want to see how I handled it. And if they like it, then that's what. As a matter of fact, I asked Vinny when I was in the hole with him, and then we got out to the law library, and I had asked him, why did you, because Dominick made it from a soldier to a captain like within a year, and just being made a soldier is big enough, but he made it like within a year, whatever, from a soldier to a wise guy.
Wow.
Quickly, yeah, to a captain. Anyways, I asked Vinny, I said, why, you promote him so quick. What happened? And he told me, Vinny, right there. I said, I like the way he handled himself. And that's it. And, so he gave him that position.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever, like, what's the most, bodies that you know of that one of these hitmen has, like Ace or Scarpa or any of those guys? Like, what do these guys got? 10, 20, 30 bodies under them?
You're never really going to know the number.
Right.
You're never going to know. The most guys, if you're smart, you never know the number. You never know. You just know that they're capable. You're never going to know how many bodies. Look, they might even have forgot themselves, which they should. And then even if they did things, they might have killed somebody just for the hell of it one time because the guy got them pissed off. They followed him outside and they just probably whacked him. It could be one of those things where an unsolved murder case type of deal.
Right.
You're never going to know. And you're not supposed to know. Once you kill somebody, keep your mouth shut. Don't ever open your mouth again. Vinny used to say, talk to everybody like they're wearing a wire. That's what Vinny Gorge used to say.
That's good advice.
Talk to everybody like they're wearing a wire, and makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much all the questions I had. Unless you wanted to add anything else.
No, I wish, hopefully I'll get the chance to talk with Dominick and everything. I always wish him the best and everything like that.
He's very busy right now, from what I hear.
He is, and I'm hoping to get together with him because we want to answer some questions that were on the Mafia Roundtable live, or at least on a segment of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to spend a couple of days with him as soon as he gets he's got a lot of things going on. Dominick's he's
So stop.
Yeah, and I'm hoping because I miss him. I haven't seen him face to face, and I definitely want to do that.
Right. Well, we had some viewer questions.
Yes.
And comments.
Yes,
that,
I want to address them.
Go to those.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to tell you a story. I wrote this in the back. When I was a kid, I wanted to say it a little bit about how my father groomed me a little bit. Now, we talked about this. Dominick had a guy groom him differently than my father did. Since he was a kid, Dominick. My father, I guess maybe he was on the fence, but I was a kid, and my father, he was a degenerate gambler in one way. I think he lost over $1 million probably gambling. And
holy shit.
Yeah. So I think I had like in the 70s back then, I was like 7 years old or something like that, and I had a stack of singles, like $30 worth of singles, so it looks bigger, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I guess I was a kid. Where was I going to spend that if my uncle, grandfather gave me money, confirmation, whatever the case may be? So I pulled the money out. So my father said, "Oh, where'd you get that money?" And I said, "I won a gambling," because that's what I used to hear my father say. So, listen, it's my father. You want to emulate your father. You want to be like him a little bit, So anyways,
right.
He said, "Oh, yeah, what'd you play?" I said, "I played gin." Well, he said, "Okay, come on, let's see." So we got on the living room floor, and we played a few hands of gin. Of course, he took all my money. They used to play, he would play what you call knock gin. I didn't know what it was. I used to play gin rummy like most people did. And later on, I learned how to play knock gin, which is causing, I don't need to get into it, but anyways, I learned how to play later on. So my father took all my money, and he goes, "Anything else?" He looked around. I said, "No." He goes, "Okay." He took the money, took the cards, and he got up and he walked away from me. He left me in the living room floor. So I was like,
He took your money?
Yeah, he took all my money. So I guess I got a little angry.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get mad because 7 years old, you don't really realize and know the value of money. I was a 7 years.
It's also your dad, though.
Yeah,
too.
and it was my father. But I got mad that he beat me so fast. I think it was like 3 or 4 hands. It wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't a lot of time. And so I went upstairs. I had a room in the attic that he made for me. So I come back downstairs after a while. So my father says, "Joseph, come here." And I wanted to be like, I said, "What?"
Yeah.
Like I was mad and like I don't want to talk to him. He goes, "No, come here." I walked over to him and he hands me the money. I go, "I don't want it." He goes, No. I'm your father. I don't want your money." He says, "But nobody in the street's going to give you your money back." He says, "Never gamble." And to this day, I do not gamble.
Wow, that's a powerful lesson he taught you.
Yeah. See, now, don't get me wrong. I've played roulette before. But I would go there. I don't have like a disease. Like in other words, I'll go to like say Atlantic City or something, and $100.
Right.
I lose $100. Boom, I go. I walk away. I went on a cruise, and I was with this girl Trish. We booked the cruise in 2 days. I went to my friend Debbie. She was the cruise. She was one of those direct people who do it for you.
Right. Right. Right.
It cost me $3,800 or something like that, almost $4,000 because I booked it in like 2 days on the
Right.
Carnival Cruise Line. It was called the Celebrity, whatever the heck the ship was. Brand new ship. I take the train to Florida. We get from Florida from Miami. We had to go on the ship because I didn't like to fly. And so then we got on the cruise. On the cruise, I won $3,500.
Really?
Yeah, so the whole cruise, the whole trip cost me like $300.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, so she was standing behind me, and I had all the chips and everything. And guess what I did? I got up with my money and walked away. And I never went back to the roulette table. We went for a 7-day cruise. So I never went back. You see, so that's the thing. And I know it sounds a little funny, but that's how my father taught me, and I really learned from that way.
No, it doesn't sound funny. It sounds like he taught you a good lesson.
Yeah.
Kept it with you.
Yep, and it stuck with me. There
Yeah.
were certain things that you learn in life. Look, your life can change like this in 1 second.
Right.
It's amazing how it could only something could turn your whole life around. And I'm so glad that he taught me that, and I can still remember it to this day. I remember how I felt. I remember how he played with me, how he did everything, and like it was yesterday. So I'm happy that he did that. I'm happy I'm not a degenerate gambler. But there was some questions I wanted to ask. There was a guy, Frank Morio. He said, I lived in New Rochelle, a lot of BS. Well, you know something? You're right. In New Rochelle, there is a lot of BS. Of course, I'm from there, so I know as well. But I'm just going to let you know, Mario, if you could go to, I was dating a girl. She lived in Yorktown, Somers. She was from the Bronx, too. All those towns have the same BS. It's just a matter of what kind of BS it is. So anybody who's in that little small knit towns, they're always going to have that kind of stuff. And but you're right, New Rochelle does have a lot of baloney there, and it's bullshit. Plain and simple. I also want to talk to this guy, Polak, 26. He's put a lot of negative comments, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But he says you can't be a tough guy and a rat. The two don't mix. But there was another guy, Phil. How do you pronounce that word? Philaton?
Phil Houghton, I think.
Phil Houghton. Yeah, 33677. He talks about Greg Scarpa. Now, I am nowhere near and was never near as tough as Greg Scarpa. And Greg Scarpa was an informant too.
Now they used his nickname for the just for those that don't know was the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, right,
Yeah, right.
And nobody would call that to his face. But now you want to talk about a guy who was on both sides of the fence and was a tough guy. There he is, right there. I was nowhere near his level. Okay, and and not to toot my own horn though. When I was called down plenty of times to be like on a spur of the moment to be called down, I thought I was going to be discovered and I was going to be killed. Okay, so I'm not trying to say, I think about it now, say, geez, I was going to my death. I was driving fast to get
As a civilian myself, I can tell you that you need some kind of toughness within you to be able to pick up the phone and go.
Yeah.
To be able to go to that sit down, knowing that you might not come back from that sit down, you know?
Yeah, thank you. And I'm like saying to myself, I can't believe I did it either. But I was in a different frame of mind, maybe, I don't know. And that's not trying to toot my own horn. Just that's why I said I'm nowhere near.
Part of the life.
That's right, just
you know
part
what
of that
you're signing
life.
up for.
But as far as Greg Scarpa was, I wouldn't want to be on his bad side. Okay, that was who's Ethan Patrick? I forget what he wanted to say with 1989. He had said some nice things, I believe, about me. I want to say thank you. I appreciate all the nice comments too. Then there was just so you know, everybody still keeps asking about these. These glasses are prescription. That's why I have to lift them up to look close. And these lights are bright, as you can see me. I'm trying not to squint, but they are.
Yeah, the glasses have been very controversial.
Yeah,
There's
I've
like
noticed
10
that.
comments about the sunglasses.
Yeah. I was like, okay, no problem.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. But I do get my glasses, and I got a guy.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it's a woman, but I won't say her name. And she's still in the Bronx. But anyways, my friend, there's a BX bricklayer. about my friend Dominick Cicale. Dominick Cicale, I guess I had told a story about that when he got beat up in the train station. He got jumped out in there. Dominick Cicale is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and he's tough, strong as a bull. And when we went to kindergarten together, and Dominick Cicale and I would fight almost every day, and he beat me up every day. Okay, I don't know what it was, and then I asked him what. I asked him. I says, "What do you eat that you?" Because he was strong. I mean, he was strong back then. And he said, "I eat Captain Crunch." So I told my mother, I went home, "Ma, you got to get Captain Crunch. You got to get Captain Crunch." And it didn't make me any stronger, but in my head. But Dominick Cicale he has I think he has 3 sons. We used to call them the Cicale brothers. These kids would wrestle so hard and fight each other so tough. They're probably all really close now. I haven't seen them in.
They probably all have CTE now.
Yeah. But I mean, they must be big now. But Dominick Cicale is a great guy, always was. He wouldn't start trouble. He could fight, but he was never a troublemaker. Never started any trouble. And if he's out there and he's listening, hi Dominick, miss you, brother, and thanks for you did something for me back in the past. I called you when I first came home on my first bid in the '90s. It was about the situation with Raymond and stuff, and I want to say thank you for helping out. Anyways, then there was Lisa Benny, Lisa, yeah, she 2859. Thank you for your nice comment. I do look forward to getting back on the Mafia Roundtable as well with Dominick. I miss him. I miss his a lot of his people that watch his show too. So thank you for that comment too. Really appreciate it. And then we got Frosty, 98. Was it 98968 or something? I forget what it is. He asked something about Chuck Zito. Now Chuck Zito, he talks a little bit about that. Chuck Zito is the real deal. You listen, just so you guys know. Not everybody in the Mafia can fight, or they're tough, or whatever. It doesn't. Just like not every now in the Hell's Angels, there's some tough, real tough guys in the Hell's Angels, and there's some guys, that they'll have to fight, but they're not really tough. Chuck Zito was the real guy who could fight, just like in any other biker gang or anything like that, or club or whatever. Most of the time, you could call it a biker club, but. Chuck Zito was the real deal, and that story in the Bronx about the Hells Angels getting beat up at that time, I believe, was a true story. But I don't believe Chucky was there. Okay, but anyway, Chucky's the real deal, and so I remember when he was slim, when he was lean. Okay, that's how many years I seen him back in the days. I was 16 years old. I'm 62 now. You tell me. But Chucky's the real deal. A good guy. Somebody you'd want to know, and I have nothing bad to say about Chuck. Nothing, not at all. And there's a red pill cop, an ex-DEA agent, who said I turned my life around and stuff. I want to thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. I did the best I can with what I could, what I had to work with. Right, wrong, or whatever. I'm not getting into that, but I did the best I could. Not everybody has to agree with it. Like I said, things are a lot different when you're involved in something. So, who knows how that'll be? But anyway, I appreciate the good comments. I appreciate the bad ones.
Was that the last one?
Yeah, that was the last question. Unless you have anything else, that was the last comment.
No, that was it. We really appreciate you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Like I said, we really appreciate it, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Take care.